So, William, I guess had to be like Seabell and go to my sponsor or team owner and ask if I can run a stock car race.
All right, I'm officially live and we're streaming, so I guess we'll start.
The recording has begun.
Okay. So then, three, two, welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Brad Wren.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, David Hall,
Back from the road.
John Curley,
Hey, welcome to the lounge.
William Westbrook.
Man, I have had a heck of a week of virtual motorsport. Can we just skip to fantasy and results?
Wait. On today's show, what is the truth about realism? Physics and fun in sim racing? We'll discuss some more new hardware from the Sim Racing Expo and ask, why is it never sunny in iRacing? Have you ever wanted to stress test a wheel? Are seat haptics the next level of immersion? And see what pure racing art is.
That's right, Mike. And remember that you can follow along with us on your PC or your mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com. Select the show notes. We hope to see you there.
So, John, we're relatively geographically close. We've had a lot of gray days recently, haven't we?
Oh, yes, we have. It seems like it's so cloudy and overcast all the time, especially when you get into the GT3, GTP races. So we got a forum post called "Why So Gray," and this was put in by Tony Guerin, I think. Nope. Let me back up. I'm on page 2. The forum post. He says, "I'm racing predominantly GT3, GTP, and I get the impression that almost all the official races for these cars take place under mostly clouded and overcast conditions. Why on earth is this?" he asked. So, does this seem to be a problem?
I think it's a perpetual issue in iRacing. I swear. It doesn't matter what series, it's always overcast.
I wonder if there's confirmation bias here, though. I'd like to see some real statistics instead of anecdotal evidence.
Yeah,
Right.
I have never noticed this, to be honest. And the Mexico race, I just got out of needed sunglasses because the freaking sun was so bright. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is like David said. I'd be interested to see actual stats instead of just what people feel like.
Yeah, the Mexico race coming into that first right-hander, you can't
Yeah,
see
that's
the
rough.
you can't see the placards. It's so
Yeah,
bright.
But that's somewhat of an oddity.
So,
is it?
But
I mean,
but
like I
it
said,
but is it?
I don't feel
I
like it.
want numbers. I don't want some because you get a tendency to have one or the other thing get on your nerves, and that's what you notice more. So it's a confirmation bias. Like
so
I said, I want to see stats to see if this is
Tempest,
really
I
the
think
case.
they call it, right? And if I remember, now tell me if I'm completely wrong. I thought the Tempest weather system was based off of real data, real life weather. So if it is, then it should be right. Why are we questioning this?
I think they said they
It's
use almanac data, so kind of. But
That's
yeah, I
still
don't know.
real, right? Just because it's a different year? I mean, does that matter?
so just because iRacing says it is, we're supposed to believe it. Do we want to roll through the list of all those things?
To your point, just because this guy says it is, should we believe it? Show me the damn numbers.
Yeah, personally, it's not something I've ever seen. And let me tell you, on some of these tracks, you want it cloudy, or the track's gonna be 150 degrees, and I'd rather have the clouds.
Well,
Ever
that's that gets discussed in this thread as well. That perhaps that's some of the issues. That it's intentionally done that way to keep the track temps down.
So, well, I mean, let's even the oval races. It seems to me, and I don't have statistics on this, but it does seem like even in the NASCAR races, there's not sunshine that often for the day races. So I don't. I know this guy in the post, this Andre Dragici, talked about GT3, GTP, but I seems to me it might be universal.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
I don't know. I
Well, I
guess
guess we'll have to see some numbers. I may even go back and see if I can look at the history of NIS this year.
What, you're
So,
going to try to look at statistics and iRacing?
oh my god, numbers. Bleh. What about this double points question, Mike? Entries being double. Oh, I remember this. Isn't it Chris that actually saw this?
Yeah, so we have a forum post talking about an ongoing issue about uh, what the view looks like in the sim, and when you bring up the little entries window where you can kind of scroll through there. Yeah, our teammate Chris, he gave us a screenshot in the chat where he had his name listed twice, and basically everybody was listed twice. And I think that's similar to what this person, Jeffrey Stanton, is reporting, that entries are being doubled on the InSim UI drop-down tabs.
so. Apparently, it's been noted by the by staff, and I guess they're working on it for the next patch. But yeah, it just seems to kind of crop up periodically. I haven't seen it myself, but just I don't know if it's a carryover from practice or what. Just really odd.
Well, at one point they told us not to scroll through if there were teams and you were looking through these things and expanding the teams, it would crash you actually.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it did that. We talked about that a few weeks ago, and they actually that was a fix, in one of the patches. Because if you started to go up there and click between the entries, I can remember, I don't know, I was waiting to I guess going from qualify or waiting to qualify or something, and I clicked just to see the entries, the new UI. So I'm like trying to look, okay, where are the entries? You used to be able to see where people were from, and you could see what their connections were. And I'm clicking around, and all of a sudden, boop, everything went dark.
Now, I digress a moment, but this is a good time to talk about another big issue in iRacing right now that is affecting a lot. And I don't think we have it on the script. Uh, this frames per second getting cut in half or even lower uh, partway throughout the race. I experienced it today. It was bad. It was bad. I was down as low as 12 frames per second. It was almost impossible to drive. And other people in our race, we're hearing over the radio 4 or 5 other, maybe more people having similar issues.
Yeah, I mean it's been noted, and I guess there's been a few resolutions. They're still trying to recreate it. I have not experienced it. I don't. I swear it seems like most of this is coming from the oval side. I don't know if I've seen a ton of this on the road side, and I don't know if that's just a suggestion of, I mean, a consequence of packed up cars. Because I think we first saw it at Talladega was where it cropped up. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't experienced it.
The same thing was mentioned by another driver in today's race in our split. He said the same thing, that he had noticed it being an issue in road course racing. Um, what I also asked if anybody else in VR was experiencing this, and so if there's any listeners that happen to use VR, I'm curious if anybody's used VR just for troubleshooting purposes, because I didn't have any issues. I stayed at a good FPS the whole time. Um, it's this is one of those things where it's happening to some people and not to others as well. On top of that, there is some smoke as far as it being seeming to be more prevalent in the oval side.
Mike, did you run Martinsville?
Yeah,
Did it happen there?
no.
Has it happened in any of your Gen 4 stuff, or is it just the
Oh no.
longer NIS races?
Just the longer NIS. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I did an ARCA race in Chicago last week. Started out 130 frames. About halfway through, it started to go down, hit about 60, but then shot back up to 130. But the week before that, Talladega NIS, I went down to like 25, and it was horrible.
Once it gets below 30, it gives you a headache, kind of like your eyes have to compensate a lot for what you're seeing, and it's not pleasant.
I think what is what is it, like 36 FPS is kind of what the normal brain can handle or something. There's a certain number I think that's supposed to be whatever it
It's
is.
somewhere right there, yeah. And I totally experienced up right above the number, at the number, and then going below the number. And I was calling out to David and Justin in the chat my frames per second, and it was creeping down as the race progressed. And as we got closer and closer to the end, it got lower and lower.
Y'all on the same split,
Yep, yep.
but it didn't happen to you, David or Justin.
Nope.
No, and like I said, I asked if it's happening to anybody in VR. You know, that's why I was wanting. And it, but Justin's on triples, and it didn't happen to him either.
But there were 5 or 6 people in the race that did have it.
I don't know. I wonder if there's any commonality, whether it's hardware between those people. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Almost, you almost need to start a thread and just have everybody start posting their specs so we can try to find the commonality.
All I can say is it didn't do this before the update, so we're looking to iRacing to fix this. Yeah.
All right. Is this there's some innuendo in this next post, is there not, Brad? I skipped an article. I do that sometimes.
It's all right.
I had two transitions in my head. Well, there's some there's some you could probably say there's some innuendo in this. We're gonna say this current video that we're actually on has something to do with about realism versus fun.
No, you still skipped.
You
So
still
one.
skipped.
we're on black boxes. So we got a how-to video from iRacing, kind of walking you through the
How
new
to read a
UI.
script.
So video from iRacing walks you through all the different black boxes that you got while you're in the sim. Um, you know, it walks kind of nice, does a good job of just kind of walking you through each of the options as you work through it. You know, if you're new to the sim, this is a great thing to look at. Even if you've been in there for a while, just kind of a quick review. You know, things have changed a little bit since they released the new UI, and just kind of nice, good refresher course. Um, Still want to see them do some more stuff with this. I think there's some better things they could do. We've discussed before. You know, my biggest complaint is in order to get more info, you got to expand the box, but then the box is like half your screen. They're huge. I mean, it's just way too big. But again, if you're new to the sim, it's just kind of a good way to learn what's in the black boxes.
I'm afraid there's a lost art in recent years from UI design, and I see it at work all the time. It drives me bananas. Like there'll be a chat window and the chat's flowing down, but where you type is at the top. And like they do this stuff that's just backwards. Like, okay, well, why would you put it that way? Or like Brad said, it expands it, but it's so dang big that it's too big. Like it's obvious that it's not ideal, but yet there it is.
Well, there's things we get used to. I mean, as well. I mean, the UI we'd had forever. I mean, it hadn't changed. I mean, like I told you, I was off the sim for 7 years, and as soon as I got back in, I was like, "Yep, that's familiar. That's familiar. That's familiar. No issues." But we get used to where things are. You know, I'm an Apple user for an iPhone, and this last update moved all the search. Anytime you want to search, went from the top to the bottom. And I will go somewhere, and I'm like, "Dang, where's the search?" I'm like, "Oh, that's right. It's at the bottom now everywhere." So yeah, the UI is a moving target. I think in everything. You know, we have in-house stuff at work that would, you know, as far as programs go, and every time there's an update, you know, you look back and it's like, did they even think about asking somebody who was going to use this how it would work?
Exactly. It's there's a disconnect there. But look, I know some of the developers and people working at iRacing are iRacers as well. So I think we do have that going for us.
All right. So I think what's actually next on the script is the truth about realism. Will
You
can take this
sure? Is that where we're at, dude?
I think so.
All right.
Correct me if I'm
So
wrong.
this is a gamer muscle video, and I'll be honest, he's not my favorite, so I did not make it through the entire video. But it starts out talking about how, realism in sim racing, how it's never going to be perfect. It's talk about what matches, what doesn't. Talk about slip on the tires and all that. But the part I think we're really interested is about halfway through when they start talking about the stewarding. I know we put that in our chat, we put it on the Discord, and we've had a discussion about it. they asked the question, how hard is it to make uh, automated automated stewarding, and I really think that they're underestimating exactly how much work it would take to get it fully automated. Like I run a league, right? I do some stewarding. Sometimes it's impossible for me to get 3 humans to agree, or 6 humans to agree. Who's at fault in an accident? How do you expect a computer right now? Don't get me wrong; it can happen in the future, but right now, how do you expect a computer to get it right 100% of the time? I don't think it's possible.
And there's always going to be context and situational awareness when you're looking at accidents. Ultimately, like and then add to that, if it's there's a difference between somebody who might make the occasional mistake versus somebody who's making them all the time as well. I don't know, that's a whole different can of worms, but still.
So look, I watch a lot about AI, and a few months ago we heard a agreement between iRacing and Microsoft on a big AI deal, and so we know they have access to some of the big databases available. You would think because of that. So thinking about how you could use AI to do this, I mean, you got to let AI train on it, but look how much data iRacing has. I mean, is there a way where an AI could, see all the replays of real races, or maybe the clips that the stewards go through every day? Maybe all those clips are fed to the AI and say this one was good, no penalty. This one was penalty, and that's how you train it. But it's got to be trained somehow. And if they could train it, and because there's so much volume, I think you probably could do it.
Yeah, but the problem is in virtually every accident there's two people involved in it. And how do you judge between the person that's following versus the person that's in front? Did the person in front just make a mistake and get loose, and the guy that was behind him plowed him? Immediately, you can't lay the blame on him. I mean, that's the whole issue with the no fault incidents. At the end of the day, it, the system it's no fault. You're in an accident. It is what it is. Do we like it? No, not all the time. I just don't see where you ever get to the point where AI can make a split second decision that that person A was right or person B was wrong, because it's racing. It's just not cut and black. It's not black and white. It's not a strike or a ball. There's too many other factors that go into what happened in that corner or in that straightaway to to precipitate the accident that happened.
And have you
I
seen how many examples there are of how you can get a large language model to hallucinate and basically say things that are obviously wrong? You can even get it to contradict itself.
Garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yeah. Now, I would suggest they use Austin Hill and Carson Hocevar to train it. Then they'd get it right.
Look, this is a great interview with uh, Niels Heiskenveld. I hope I said that right. Niels is a stalwart in this industry. With his Heiskenveld pedals that are just legendary. He's been in the a leader in the hardware industry for a long time. He has a lot to say. Everyone should watch his video that he has about throttle curves and stuff like that. If you're a little bit engineer in you, you'll love his videos. But he does talk about some other topics in this that are just fascinating. I mean, tire development, uh, thermal, simulation. Um, how to, is motion right? Does it, are we experiencing the right thing when we're in a motion? Lots of neat topics. A really good interview.
Okay, so I know what Tata Dega usually means if you're actually at the race, but what does this one mean, John?
Well, this is actually a pretty good little story. Robin Stevens at Stevens Motorsports put together a fundraiser race. As you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So he put together a charity race, 75 laps at Talladega with the Craftsman trucks, all pink trucks, by the way. And this guy actually raised in this race over his target of $1,000 for the Susan Komen Foundation.
Now we got a team
And
here, John. So it's actually Robin. and she actually got this thing going. And then her husband is AJ Stevens, I believe, and he's one of our listeners. And so that's the tie-in. And I follow his wife sim racing channel on TikTok. I give her a follow. And anyway, I saw her clip of the race. Now the race already happened, but what's neat about it during the race, John, was all the pink trucks on track at once, and because it's October and we're at the end of October and we haven't even talked about anything pink all month, I thought this would be a great story. But also the great story is the $1,000 raised for the charity, and then they're going to do it again next year.
Yeah, it's nice. In fact, he says his goal next year is to raise $2,000. Let's all help him make it.
Well, yeah, I'd love to participate. I didn't know it was happening until after it happened, but I thought we'd mention it here, and you guys check out the picture or the video of the pink trucks. And now they also called it the Tata Dega 200, for Tatas. And the other thing that was cool about this is the race organizer, Miss Robin, she won the race actually too.
Was it fixed?
Inside trading.
I know she legit won it. Yeah.
Did she win by?
Congratulations. Where were you going to go with that, Brad?
That's as far as I went.
All right. This next one makes me feel gracious and proud of my decision not to run the Martinsville 500.
We should make Brad cover this story so he doesn't fall off the wagon.
Go for it, Brad. I heard you almost ran it. Your wife had to talk you down out of it, right?
Oh no, absolutely not. I wouldn't have touched this. You couldn't have paid me to be here. So, yeah, we got a forum post here, and I'm gonna butcher his name. Treborn Mahil says, "I don't know if I should be ashamed or proud to have been part of it, but those fine chaps in bottom splits for the 1600 GMT start managed a whopping 57 full course yellows. So this is the MX5 500 at Martinsville that ran last weekend. So it's one for the record books. And I thought last year's was bad when my split reached 38 or thereabouts, but it wasn't really bad. It was accidents. So people wasn't being potato about it. Driving was not stupid or aggressive. It's just I don't know skill. So um, yeah, that absolutely not in 100 years would I ever do this race. But I think what I put back into the chat when we were discussing this was 58, 57 yellows. If we ran a full Martinsville NIS race, I can guarantee you would be very close to the same number because a 250 lap race is usually in the 24 to 30 range. Most races, I know most of the ones I've been in have been in the mid 20s. So again, it ain't the track; it's the nuts behind the wheel.
Well, it's not the car either. Obviously, it's a totally different car. But yeah, that 57 full course yellow equaled over 50% under yellow for the whole event. Somebody else notated.
Where, which is way most of the NIS Martinsville races go. There, mostly of those are 50% or more under yellow.
Well, some of the people ask in the forum post, would it make more sense to make this a no yellow race? I mean, would that be? That's not a solution, but would it be an
Those,
improvement?
those are kind of fun and hosted, but if they're like 15 minutes or something, maybe 10 minutes, and then it's kind of like everyone goes after the leader, and yeah, it's almost demo derby. Those are fun, but I don't know how that would work in an official.
Essentially, it'd be like it is when you run down where the in the lower oval divisions with no cautions. If you get
If you
caught
screw up
in
at
the
all,
mixed
you're
thing,
done.
you're done. Race over, just like in road racing.
One more thing. I'd like to know quickly, is 57 full course yellows a real record? Is that the world record in iRacing? Why can't I go to Chat GPT and ask that to Chat GPT and get an answer? I would
Because iRace,
love to have the
because
stats.
iRacing is got a partnership with Microsoft.
Okay, well, you know what I mean. I want to be able to ask that to an AI quickly and get the answer. That's the answer to how to fix iRacing stats is let's just get some AI integration where you can just ask it questions and have a query built.
You need to get your TikTok stream sponsored by ChatGTP because you love it.
All right, tell us a little bit about the next one, William. We got some report about MC Esports Global Championship.
Yeah, the goal championship's back for MC Esports. We talked about this a while ago when it was announced, but now it's actually here. It'll be November 2nd, so Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. This is always great watching, so I will definitely be watching it. I haven't checked to see what teams are in it yet. Obviously, Red Bull, Williams, Apex, those guys will be all there, but I haven't seen the full lineup yet. But always a great time. We're going to start at Road Atlanta, like I think they did last year as well.
Yeah, these are usually pretty enjoyable, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right, and we got another series to talk about, John.
Yes, we do. The World of Outlaws Pro Series is coming back for the 25-26 season. Starts in November. There is this, there's $25,000 prize money in this thing, but um, you can get in it. You got to have a Dirt Oval A license to qualify. Get in the qualifying event on Tuesday through Thursday. 40 highest point scorers across 3 nights will be invited to the Pro Series events. And I think they're going to run different cars in this. If I remember correctly, they'll have 410 sprint cars for a 5-race tournament, late models 5-race tournament. So these races are fun to watch. I've watched some of these. These guys are some good dirt drivers. They know how to wheel a car.
So didn't this go away for about a year?
Yeah, I think they missed a season. Correct. That's what I remember. But this is kind of interesting how they're mixing the cars together into one, championship. So that means you got to be good at both. And so I think what we've seen in the past is we have a particular standout on one car, but he doesn't necessarily do well at the other car, or vice versa. And so it'll be interesting to see, who's going to be good in both, I guess.
All right, it's not the Sim Gaming Expo; it's the Sim Racing Expo. Brad, we got
Yeah, we had so Instagram post here from Sim Racing Expo, which wrapped up I think week before last. So they've been, a little bit more info has kind of been popping out over the last week or so. But the Instagram post talking about the attendance. So mind blowing, 24,371 people attended the expo over 3 days. So that's huge. It says we're no longer just a niche. We're growing into a strong, united community. So I do know that they've announced that the next year's will be in Frankfurt, I believe. I guess at a larger venue. Some of the streamers that were there, did discuss a few things. It was crowded. You look at the size of the area, it wasn't really probably as big as it needed to be. But yeah, I mean that's good. And as we talked before, so same group that does these in Europe is will be here in the U.S. For Memorial Day weekend in Charlotte. So I'm excited for that. And the hope is that we'll get to see some of the companies that we didn't see at the Sim Gaming Expo, but I don't think George has announced anything as far as a date yet for next year, but as successful as the Sim Gaming Expo was, I'm confident that that will be just as successful again. And as far as I know, I think we're planning to be there again. So
Those are some big numbers. If I can't imagine that many people at the Sim Gaming Expo. I think we had a few thousand. I think is what he ended up telling us. I don't remember specifically, but it was in the single digit thousands, and this is 24,000. So it's quite a big difference.
yeah, it is. But I mean, this one's been going on for multiple years. So again, I still think George was surprised with the attendance that he had at the Sim Gaming Expo. I know I was. I mean, we talked about we were there just I mean, crazy just how busy Friday was. I mean, Friday night was super busy.
That yeah, I mean, it felt busy, and that's what I mean. It's like I can't imagine that there would be 10 times as many people, and like how that would play out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to potentially going to Charlotte. I haven't planned anything yet, but it'll be interesting to see what they can pull in Charlotte, and then what companies can they pull? Because a lot of the companies at the Sim Racing Expo are very European based. They did get a few, from other places, but will they be able to pull those European companies with them over here to the U.S. when they come to Charlotte?
I know Will is hoping that it's going to be a gaggle of them.
I hope so. I'll be there. Yeah, I wonder size how it's going to compare to the one in Dortmund. They're moving to Frankfurt because they actually ran out of space for vendors, so they're moving to a larger venue. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. My vacation that is usually scheduled for the week after Memorial Day weekend got moved, so I have the whole weekend to be at the Sim Racing Expo.
Excellent. I look forward to seeing you.
All right, before we hit the next topic, I did do some math, did a little spreadsheeting. So I've got a weather report from NIS. All right. So I went and took basically the top split result for every Sunday except for this week. I took Thursday. Um, Partly cloudy was 14 times, which is just scattered clouds. Clear was 6 times. Mostly cloudy was 10, and overcast was 6.
There you go.
So basically, 20 times it was just barely cloudy or clear, and 16 times it was heavily cloudy or overcast.
Seems
So
equal.
yeah, there were only 6 times that it was completely clear, but there's 4 different options, and so clear is only one out of the 4 options.
So, I'm not sure, and I agree with your math there. If clear was only 6 times, then the majority of the races had cloud cover.
Yeah, but partly cloudy is not the same as mostly cloudy,
Partly cloudy
is what
is
I'm
still a
saying.
pretty bit of sunshine, I would think.
Yeah, partly cloudy is still a lot of sun with scattered clouds.
Hmm.
So it's not. So I would split them in half. I would say partly cloudy and clear are on the brighter side, whereas mostly cloudy and overcast were on the darker side as far as the amount of cloud cover. Now, so granted, it wasn't all 6 like we have at Mexico City, but partly cloudy still has a lot of sun, and it's not overcast. It's not dark and gloomy.
Okay.
So the number like it's maybe a little bit leaning towards cloudy, but not again because there's only one option for completely clear, but partly cloudy is almost clear. It seemed pretty balanced.
I'd be curious to see how that plays out, somewhat track dependent. So, because that was what, Martinsville?
The most recent Martinsville was completely clear, actually.
No, I mean, I'm asking, what race did you take the sample from?
I did every race all season. I looked at the weather for every race throughout the season.
Across the United States, right? Yeah.
No, I went into the NIS results and went week to week and took down a list of whether it was clear or cloudy. I looked at the weather report for the top split NIS every week for all 36 weeks. So, does that answer your question, Brad?
So, you, so there's 4 top splits. You just look at one day, or did you look at all 4?
I did Sundays. I did
Okay.
Sundays on all of them.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't
Okay.
go. I didn't go as far as looking at every. I took a guess that the cloudy content would probably be the same. So
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be interesting to somehow, if you could, I would think you get a better sample size if you looked at just regular officials. Even if you just took one series, I think it'd be interesting to see what it would be. I don't know if it would correlate to just. I mean, it's just that's a small sample size, but when you think about the size, the volume of races that we have. But yeah, it's just no way to do it quickly. I mean, you'd spend hours and hours trying to do it.
Well, I'll take a look at. I don't think the cloud cover changes. I think the cloud cover stays the same for throughout a week. Now, now the rain may be a different story, but I think the clouds. It's either one of the four categories all week. I'll take a look while we move on to the next article. I'll just take a look at a couple of weeks in IMSA and see if it can change from one result to another. So we do have one event coming up. It's the Ford Festival 1600. Tell us a little bit about it, John.
Yes, we do. The British Racing and Sports Car Club, iRacing FF 1600 Festival's coming up. I think they're going to run at, oh, is it Brand? I was going to say Brands Hatch, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure
that's
that's
right.
right. Yeah, yeah. But that's coming up October 31st, November 1st. So by the time some people hear this show, it'll be over. But if you're listening to us Thursday, Friday, you got time to get in it. They're going to run, I believe the format is going to be 2 heat races. 28 drivers, 13 will advance. Then they'll have an LCQ, 30 drivers, 4 will advance in the last chance qualifier. Final race, 30 drivers, 20 laps. And of course, as usual, all the times listed are GMT, so you'll have to do your conversion on that. But if you like that car, this would be a good weekend to get involved.
All right, and I do have an answer for you, Brad. I just took a look at a bunch of Le Mans races last week. Every single one of them, exact same thing, mostly cloudy.
Well, I might contradict you there a little bit. I went back to Sebring at the beginning of the season for IMSA, and it goes back and forth between partly and mostly cloudy, depending on the time
Hmm.
slot.
That's interesting because it doesn't on the Le Mans one.
Well, I think and I've said it before. It always just seems to be gray and overcast in our racing. That's the issue, and it's just the coloring. I think the game can look even better sometimes when there's more light, more sun. But it always feels like it's gray. It's kind of washed out. And I've said that for years. Regardless of what the weather's like, that's just the way it always feels.
Well, we all know feeling is truth.
I'm not saying it's truth. I'm just saying it's just, and again, I'm not the only one. I mean, there's reasons why people run filters and play with the gamma and all that stuff because they try to brighten the sim up some because it just does always look dark and gloomy.
Well, since the new UI came out, I actually had to increase the brightness setting because when it was like dusk, I couldn't see the track.
Uh, well, there you go. So see, even you had to make adjustments.
Yeah, but that I think that the original article was about the weather always being cloudy.
I know. I'm
Oh,
messing with you.
God.
All right. So, is it cloudy this week in iRacing?
Probably, but so
You
yeah,
feel
this
like it
week.
is either way, right?
That's right. That's right. Um, so, just a quick hit on this. I do want to bring the attention that this week is the last week, week 36 for the NIS iRacing Series. This will be a full distance race at Phoenix Raceway. So, yeah, there's your big one. 36 weeks of grinding is done, and get ready for winter NIS and a break till we start the 2026 campaign.
Podcast housekeeping. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We would appreciate it. Check out our Discord and get involved in the discussion. Lots going on over there, talking about some of these stories that we've been going through and whatnot. Join the discussion. Of course, our show notes at iRacersLounge.com, and we're in regular rotation at Performance Motorsports Network. Don't forget your merchandise at iRacersLounge.merch. .shop, sorry.
All right, William, tell us about fantasy.
Let's look at those numbers, huh? So we went to Martinsville Speedway, following the good old NASCAR racing series. And look who's on top there. Anybody want to read it? Brad?
Penguin
I
Racing.
can't.
What?
Brad?
I
It's
can't.
Penguin
I,
Racing.
Penguin
I, I,
Racing
I
took
got
the
to get
top
my
spot
glasses.
with 277 points. JTC 11C was second with 267. Mike SW2833 was third with 265. Twisted Spirit was fourth with 257. And TG1 Racing came in fifth with 253. So the playoff standings currently number one, Penguin Racing with 1987. Canadian is second with 1947. TG1 Racing is third with 1946. Mike Wojo is fourth with 1921. And Connor Truman fifth with 1912.
Quick question before we dive in: is there ongoing overall standings still as well?
Yeah,
There
there are. Let
Okay.
me grab them. I'm like eighth in those, I think. Let's see.
but overall, it doesn't matter anymore
Yeah,
with the
we're
playoff.
only going to look at one of these at the end. So does
Well,
it
they might
matter?
next year.
So
It doesn't matter.
we're only giving the prize to the playoff winner.
That's
Isn't
right.
that
I'm
the way?
not. No, there aren't two winners.
That's right. That's the way the Cup Series is. It doesn't matter what you did in the other 30 some races. It's just what
That's
happened in the last one.
no. It's not just what happened in the last one. You have
Yes, that's the
there's
playoffs.
how many are there? 36 drivers in the final four.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't matter. It's the playoffs. The playoffs always win, David.
Again, maybe not next year.
I think that we should be looking at the overall season later, but well, whatever. It's there's nothing there. The regular season has an impact on the playoffs. It it's fluky,
So
but it still has an impact.
let's talk about something better. Like, why aren't they tearing down those those two Gibbs cars that blew up prematurely and see what they were trying to cheat up? Because they were trying something.
They've had Toyota's had more engine issues this year than anybody else. So I don't think they're
It,
trying anything. I think Toyota's just got some engine issues. They've had more engine issues the last couple of years than anybody else.
Well, that's like 3 weeks in a row. Denny's had some sort of issue. Maybe not the engine, but something go wrong. So how scared do you have to be going into Phoenix?
That's the way it is with him every year. I mean, if you think what was it last year where something broke in the right front when he got taken out at what Vegas or something, or I don't remember what it was, but yeah, it's always something.
well, I hope Denny could win it. I really do. I think
Uh,
with and the other thing that's kind of looming right now is there's some talk that the whole NASCAR being sued by the teams, all that might go away here during the Phoenix weekend. They might try to wrap that up so they don't have to go to court.
Well, it'd be pretty awkward to have to watch Steve Phelps and Denny Hamlin the trophy if he wins. That'd be rather awkward.
I like it.
He's not going to win. Something will happen. It's just the way it is. It's Denny. It's I compare him to Earnhardt at Daytona. It's the seagull, it's the cut tire, it's the stupid stuff that happens. That's just Denny's going to be the perpetual guy that's going to have 60, probably close to 70 wins, and will probably never have a championship. Doesn't make him any less a great. He's great. No, I'm not discounting that. Can't stand the guy, but at the end of the day, I just don't think he gets it done.
He came up in the wrong era. He had to go up against Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, and couldn't get it done during that time. And now we have this roll the dice playoff crap.
Well, I think that's what's hurt Denny overall. Denny's been very consistent through the years, but when it comes down to it, again, when you have a one race playoff, it's a crapshoot anyway. That's the whole problem with it. I mean, look, you got go to the Truck Series and go to the Xfinity. You got two guys have won 10 races or more. And as much as I hate to see them not win, I hope they both lose to throw this whole freaking shenanigans out the freaking door because
Right.
it's completely preposterous.
Ryan Newman won 8 races, lost the championship.
Yes, because the other 20 some races he failed to finish. I mean, again, it's about consistency. It's not necessarily about how many you win. Connor Zilic, regular season champion. Corey Haim, regular season champion. no reason that they should not have a championship. If you wrap the championship up 3 weeks early, so be it. You had a fantastic season. That should be rewarded, and that's the way it used to be.
Yeah, but back in the day, that was what a lot of people complained about, is that a guy stroked is the term they used to use, and only won one race and just made sure that he had safe finishes and good finishes every week, and ended up outperforming somebody with
Yeah,
8 wins.
competition's
And
too
that was
good
that
now
was
to
part
do
of what was
that.
start. Yeah, but
It
that's
is.
that's that's what started the argument. Now I'm pretty well pro race 36 as well, but I like what, since we're talking about, we got the league coming up next week. If you look at our point system, we've changed it up a little bit where consistency counts, but winning really counts because there's a huge jump in the points for first place from second place, humongous.
I hope
So
Haim and Zillage purposely don't win just to make it even that much more that this needs to be changed.
but just remember, that's how we got what we got, because Ryan
It,
Newman won 8 races and didn't get the championship.
and again, if David Pearson ran a full season for all the years he ran for the Wood Brothers, he'd have had multiple championships, but they chose not to. He'd win 7, 8, 9, 10 races a year, but he didn't win a championship because he didn't run all the races. Racing has always been about consistency. It doesn't matter what you do. And the only way that you have a proper champion is to have a full season points system. It's just the rest of it. It's about entertainment and everything else. And at the end of the day, the last few years has been nothing but entertainment and a joke. So if Denny doesn't win, who does?
I'm picking Byron.
I want Denny. If not, it'll probably be Chase. Do you think anyone besides the four win? Maybe we have a separate winner.
I could see Blaney sneaking in and grabbing it, but generally, I think it'll be one of the four.
Yeah, I mean,
See,
I think
it seems to play out that way usually.
well, Chastain won it the year that I guess that was what 23 when Blaney won. So I think that's the only time somebody other than the champions won. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. At the end of the day, as much as I hate the playoffs, I do think you probably have the four best drivers in there this year. It's not as fluky as it's been the last few years. So the four guys that have really overall performed the best are in there. I mean, Byron's the regular season champion; he's in there. So um, had Logano gotten in there or something again, it would have been the same story as last year.
All right, the first hardware item, I guess you saved for me because this was on the script a while back, and I threw in a note because I knew it was going to be away. But I'll go ahead and basically read that note because I watched this one and looked at it. This video is basically really only irrelevant if you look at the Pimax Super Wide, because it has a couple of different options as far as performance goes. Essentially, this guy says he prefers a better picture frame rate over having the wider field of view. And he points out that the far wide field of view doesn't make that much difference in your situational awareness. And I really kind of agree with that because I'm just on the Pimax Crystal Light, but for the most part, except for when I'm looking into a tight apex like the stadium section at Mexico, I don't turn my head. I just look straight away. Though I have an advantage with JRT's real time spotter that gives me a better idea of what cars are doing beside me, so that I don't have to look side by side. But that's kind of what an audio spotter does for you as well. But essentially, you can sacrifice a little bit of your field of view on the Super Pimax Super, or have a better frame rate and a little bit better clarity, and that's what he covered in this video.
So what I
So,
noticed was on that one shot where it shows his face, you could see his sim room and the back. You could see the back wall anyway. He's got that soundproofing foam stuff all over the walls to deaden the sound. And I see a giant speaker in the corner, presuming there's one in each corner. Man, that's a pretty cool idea. Let's like blast out some engine noise and put down some sound deadening so the neighbors don't complain.
So, I mean, Dave, what do you run as far as FOV?
You can't really set it in VR like you do on a monitor. If you're talking about the
Well,
FOV degree button,
I mean,
right?
you've got there's a certain if you're looking straight ahead, I assume you still have some sort of field of view. You're not seeing 180 if you're just looking straight ahead. I
No,
mean,
it's basically as good as if you were looking through a helmet,
It's
right?
like 110 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 110, 105 diagonal is what is how it's described as far as the angle. Now I have my environment enlarged a little bit because iRacing in Steam VR does is the car is too small in reality. So I learned how to switch that, and I have it scaled up just a little bit, which changes your field of view, right? Because everything's bigger. Um, but I've got it basically where the car looks like it's the right size when I'm sitting inside it because I can't reach out and actually touch the right side, whereas I could before. But I mean, as far as field of view, I can see definitely. I can see. I guess I'll have to jump in and look and see if I can see the A post when I'm looking forward, but I can definitely see the whole windshield by far.
but with the super wide, you can actually run say you run 130. You run even a greater field of view, right?
You can, yes. It's a much bigger headset, obviously.
Okay, so again, headset kind of similar to triples. So if I've got a single monitor, I'm at 110. If I got triples, I'm at 160. Fair enough. I'm trying to understand VR a little bit because I've never used it.
Probably right, but you can also turn your head, right?
Right. Yeah. Then that's what I'm getting at. I mean, if it's if I'm trying to figure out where's the benefit for having even a wider field of view if the whole purpose of VR is where you can move your head. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
what
just
this
to
guy
have more
says.
peripheral vision. But yeah, that's what he says is that it's really not. It really doesn't make that big of a
There's
difference.
there's no point in going from the regular Pimax Super to the super wide if you're just doing sim racing, was the message I got.
Fair enough.
And I can't disagree with that because I don't feel like I have a limited field of view even in my crystal light. Right, I see everything I need to see. I don't ever have a problem with being able to see beside me. All right,
Would a
go ahead.
wider one other question, would a wider field of view help you with the overlays, give you more room for those?
No, because they're if I put them out any wider, I'm not gonna be able to focus on them anyway. Right. Most of my overlays, I have my overlays all sitting underneath the windshield, basically covering up the dashboard of whatever cars I'm in. So other than my spotter, everything is under the driving field of view. So I only look down when I need to, and otherwise I'm just looking at the windshield. So I don't even use at that point. I'm not even using the overlay. Okay, next up, Brad is the boldest wheel.
Really, you're gonna give this one to me? You know how much I love this wheel.
No, I will take this one. So
Thank you.
after
Wait,
watching this
was
video with Niels Heiskenveld about his new Formula wheel that we saw at the Sim Gaming Expo, that I think initially it's kind of off-putting because it looks kind of futuristic and it got this Batmobile kind of look to it, kind of plasticky look. And but after watching this video with the creator of it and him describing the designs and the design choices and the why behind it, I'm actually buying into it a little bit. I love that he was so concerned about the weight, and he said basically what I've been saying for months now. Weight is so important on these wheels, and to have one that's super light, you know, the way it mounts, the way the shifters can slide in and out, um, the way that you don't have to remove your hand from the grip to get to any button at all. Um, there's a lot of design choices that he goes through and kind of points out. And so it's kind of growing on me. I don't know if I'd buy it, but I feel better about it after listening to the creator just, tell us why he did it.
The button
I,
design is good. I disagree that weight is that important when you're on a heavy mod. All right,
I
that's
agree.
just not that big of a deal. But what does that have to do with the design? I don't think it's that ugly. But I'm not a terribly aesthetic person, and I would not care because I'm racing in VR anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, I,
look, go ahead, William.
I was just gonna say I still hate the wheel, but after watching the video, I hate it just a little bit less. Ergonomically it does look good, but yeah, it still looks funky and it's not something that I think I want to race with.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's function versus form, and there's things that function very well that are just absolutely aesthetically horrible looking. And I'm just not going to discount that. Look, we were at the Sim Gaming Expo. I said my piece on this. I don't. I think it's god awful looking. I talked to Sean Cole about it, and he said yes. When you first look at it, it's not appealing. But when you start thinking about it from a VR aspect, and you start thinking about that, and somebody with smaller hands, again, it makes perfect sense. And look, different strokes for different folks. We all like different stuff. It's just at the end of the day, I could not sit down and look at that thing in my hand because it's just not. It doesn't look good. It's just for me, it's not an eye pleasing wheel. If you're in VR, it doesn't make a difference anyway. So who cares? Back to the weight thing. With a modern direct drive wheel, wheels are weighted that they're where the 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 shaft is in the center of the wheel. It does not make that much of a difference in reality. With a servo motor, it does not make that much of a difference. Yes, if you grab a GSI and you put it on a 3 Newton meter wheel, yes, you're going to have issues. But on a modern direct drive wheel, 15 and above, I'd say, I don't think you're going to have any issues with weight.
I'm not even sure having the heavier wheel on a weaker wheel base would be a bad thing because it's going to make it harder to oversteer,
Natural damping,
It's
right?
it's dampening. Yeah, that's the issue. It's natural dampening.
Anyway, it's growing
which
on
not
me. But
isn't a bad thing. I don't think.
the other thing is, I always think the Formula wheel is like the cherry on top. Look, if you're looking for a kind of look, like when I did my rig, I was looking for a look. I'm looking for black with blue, and maybe red. And so everything had to kind of tie in. And when I bought that Formula wheel, a lot of it was based on how it looked, to be honest. I wanted a premium look. I wanted to, something that really says, Formula racing kind of look and looks like a real wheel. And I went with $1,000, Italian wheel, and I've been very happy with it.
All right, John, do you like to ride roller coasters?
Well, Daniel Morad, he took a look at an advanced sim racing rig that had a D box on it, and his view of it is, when it comes to motion, less is more. And he says this particular D box, and I don't know which model it is, but he said they have the fastest units he's ever tested. These, Mike, when we were at Sim Gaming Expo, we went to a sim racing cafe, and I think this is the style, Mike, you and I were on, that had the yaw in it,
Right.
which I really really liked, especially on the oval track. But he does a little bit of a review on that. It's just a quick hit, uh, worth looking at if you're into motion. I personally, to me, I'm not going to spend the money for it, but it's there if you want it.
Look, I think the reason I put this on here really is to show off the advanced sim racing setup here, where they offer that bottom plate that you put the entire rig on that gives the shifting side to side, left to right on the front and the back. And so that's the old, so you don't have to buy everything at once. So you first you get your advanced sim racing rig, you get the ASR Pro or you get the ASR 6, then you buy the D box on each corner, and then next you get the platform to put the whole thing onto. And so it's like a package. And What a great package this is, and this definitely competes with probably some of the best out there, I would guess.
I did see in the video. Obviously, he's got the new SimbiCube 3 that he's testing.
It'll be interesting to see what he thinks of it too.
If they ever get the firmware right or the software right.
Next, we have an Instagram video, and it's apparently it's a new kind of haptic rig, I guess.
No, it's
It's
a dash,
this,
David.
oh, is it just the dash? That's all it is. So
Well, he calls it a
Oh,
cockpit, but yeah.
yeah. It's a Ferrari 296 Dash with Brad's favorite accessory come with it.
The
Gotta
wind
have the wind
sim.
sim.
okay, so it's not. So the rest of the rig is just a rig. Okay, but it's so it's. I should have given this one to Brad because you are our wind sim expert.
Well, it's not so much about the wind sim. I mean, this is a the dash is built to resemble the Ferrari 296. It's super cool. I mean, it's neat. I don't know. There's a dash in the screen in the car, so that's my whole issue with when people do the build outs of this stuff. And I get it if you're a Porsche guy and you want to have the whole build out and all that, but unless you get your FOV set to where you don't see any of that in the car, it's like the steering wheel. I don't need to see two steering wheels.
My concern with this is visually, it's right in the way. I mean, it's on top of where the wheel deck is, or it's above the wheel deck. I'm afraid it's too big. I don't know, but I love the idea. This is probably the best implementation of WinSim I've seen, where they build in, actual air vents like a car on each side that are kind of blowing on you. They're kind of 3D printed looking, but they're the right shape and stuff, so it gives it that sleek look.
And it's just sitting basically on top of a partially 820 rig, right? Or 8020 rig.
Yeah, you just set it on top of your setup, and so I'm just trying to imagine me sticking that on what I have right now, and I think visually it's definitely going to be blocking. It's not a bad idea. I don't know if we could figure out a different implementation, so it's just not like you said laying on the top. EP Lab Sim Racing is what that's called.
Well, while we're talking wind sims, Brad, tell us about the next one.
It's the Instagram post from Mantis Simulators. They're introducing the Mantis Velo wind simulation sim racing. So this provides up to 16 miles per hour of wind at a distance of 50 centimeters to add another layer of realism to boost your sim racing immersion. So for listeners, typically we have when we think about a wind sim, you got the tubes. So you got tubes coming up, and you've got probably got your fans down on the bottom or on the back or somewhere or whatnot. So this is no tubes. Just you're going to have fans just basically blowing at you. There's no tubing or anything on here. So again, I just I don't know. I'm never gonna. I just don't think you're ever gonna sell me on the wind sim. I just don't think I'll ever get sold on it.
Y'all posted that picture from the Driven Dynamics rig, and I really didn't even know they had wind on that rig. There were so many other things going on, I guess.
Well, we all knew they had wind because we could see the beard just fluffing up in the air. Again, it's just I don't know unless you're doing open cockpit racing. I don't see where any of this would immersion wise comes in. Again, I have a fan right here. When I get warm, I turn it on, I turn it up, I turn it down, however I need to do. So that's again, it's just an odd thing.
All right, the next video, Mike, reeks of clickbait. Uh, this company just broke sim racing. You mean they did an iRacing graphics patch?
Well, they introduced a nice product that actually puts them right up there with some of the best in the business. Talking about the new Muraco wheel, and we've seen this over the last few weeks a few times. This review is Formula Zach on YouTube, and yeah, he goes over the Muraco Raiden X. He says it's just not another sim racing wheel. It's a complete shift in how drivers interact with the car. Has forged titanium paddles and preg carbon construction to a fully integrated custom dash system. This wheel feels like something straight out of Formula One. And I think they're kind of positioning themselves as an alternative maybe for that sim lab formula wheel that's so much money.
Oh, it looks good. I mean, the thing looks very nice. I mean, they've taken it to the next level when it comes, delivered to you in a hard case and all that. So but there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it looks like the rest of the Formula rims. That's the
Well,
issue we get into.
I don't know why they keep calling it Formula. It was inspired by the hypercar. So it's a slightly different, I guess.
280. Ooh,
Yeah, that's the only issue. It's 280. It's too small for me. It looks very nice though. Like Brad said, it comes delivered in a Pelican case. It comes customized with your name and number etched into it. It's a great looking wheel, and obviously very. I haven't seen any videos by Formula Zach before, but I thought he did a really good job with the review. Obviously, good quality. It's currently on pre-order, $1,888 US. And I don't know where it ships from.
That's not too horrific. I do like the look of the paddles. It does have three sets on each side, or I mean, right? It's got the good, almost I guess Ferrari type layout as far as the buttons go, right? With a lot of reachable thumbs.
Yeah,
yeah.
like I said, it's great layout, great design, and apparently
You
these dashboards are custom too.
you mentioned calling it a formula wheel. I think we just about call any of these quick response wheels formula wheels versus an oval wheel, right? Anything that's not that's designed to be able to turn from right to left on a quicker basis.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Generic. It's a generic term, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I would if we're looking, I would call this a Formula wheel because it's got a screen. If it was a similar wheel, it did not have a screen, I would call it a GT wheel. So that's kind of how I would differentiate between the two.
It's beautiful. So yeah, if you're looking for a high end wheel, you almost got to look at it.
Yeah, like I said, if I mean, again, what you're spending is a lot of money, but the idea of getting something that's customized for you, the way that it's delivered, I mean, it's the entire package. I mean, that's what we talk about. I mean, it's something when you open up a box and it's like, oh my gosh, look at this. It's the way the packaging is, and there's some of that's almost worth the price when you pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like I said before, the cherry on top is that beautiful wheel, sitting right in the center of your rig. I would be proud to have this one as my cherry on top. It's a nice one.
yeah, nice. Well, if it only had like 20 more millimeters, it'd be perfect.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right, it looks like Conspet has put out a hydraulic pedal set, or at least the brake is hydraulic, right?
Well, it's been
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
They're nice looking. I don't. I'm curious how this one would adjust. I know on my set, I can actually change the bumpers to control how how the brake behaves, and I think a couple of them need to be replaced because the brake's starting to get a little bit soft. This one does appear to have a knob on it, but you can definitely tell it's got the master cylinder, so the brake is definitely working on the hydraulic.
yeah. This is something they've had for a while, but just an upgrade, like second generation version of this, I believe.
It's called the CCP Evo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look
I
like
mean,
very,
cons,
very
but
good.
go ahead.
I was just saying that look like very good pedals. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
they,
mean, no, I mean again, Constant continues to kind of push the envelope with new stuff. I mean, this is look, it's a hydraulic pedal, yes, but it's you still got you still got springs. Looks like you could adjust either springs or elastomers or somewhere in there
There's
to help.
elastomers in this one.
Yeah, so I mean, again, it's good. It looks solid. I mean, it's very similar to the Sim Magic P1000s. Most of these are very very similar. I mean, there's only so many ways you can do hydraulic.
Can you find a price?
$849 for the 3 pedal.
That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's not bad. Pretty easy to adjust too. Knobs on the front and the back for the preload. And I assume I don't see anywhere on the website, but I assume it comes with a bunch of different elastomers to customize it to your feel.
So what have you got? You got the P1000s?
I got the P1000s. Yep, I run one of the hardest spring and one of the one under that. I have two springs, and then I've adjusted the preload to my liking.
Yeah.
Well, it's too bad we get to try this one in Chicago, but the next thing we have is an Instagram feed with a motion rig for your head. We've covered stuff like this before, but they have one running there. And I wonder, can you imagine the waiver you have to sign for this so you don't get to claim whiplash?
This is
Yeah.
crazy. So for the audio viewers, we have a video of a guy sitting in a racing seat. They put this helmet on him. Well, first he puts the VR on, then they put the helmet on. Now the helmet has looks like string, like regular string attached to various parts of the helmet on each side, and those strings are you know strung tightly up to a mechanism that goes back and forth. And so they have programmed in, basically head motion that will move this helmet. Not much. It just moves side to side, maybe an inch or so, forward, backwards, about the same. It's not a lot of movement, but it's subtle.
Yeah, and there's going to be some belt tensioners in there too to simulate. This is Ciro Zambra. He's a Williams Esport Academy driver, and he also races radicals in real life. You watch him get out of that thing, and he is giddy. So it must do a pretty decent job of actually simulating the forces on you.
So I've seen videos of Formula drivers and up and comers that actually do some insane neck exercises.
Yeah, take this to the next level. You would see maybe the Formula One teams have some kind of training tool like this, but the neck forces are like realistic instead of just like with a short string.
Yeah, this is a hard no for me.
If what if something goes wrong, right? Where's that emergency stop?
But you can't press it if you're already paralyzed.
I just, I don't know. I, I'm not claustrophobic, but that would bother me. It just would. That would really bother me.
All right, we got another wheel. Will
He arrived. Yeah. Sim Racing Hub NL on their Instagram is, and we've seen this wheel a few times. It's obviously very beautiful, but they have given a little mini preview review, whatever you want to call it, of the Bavarian Simtech Omega Pro 2. Beautiful wheel, obviously. 1,250 grams, just right, 300 millimeters. We talked about it, I think, a couple episodes ago. I forget the price, but Bavarian Simtech, it won't be cheap.
Oh, we're gonna look at this every week because this is definitely in my top three now. I love how thin it looks. When he shows the profile side of it. Uh, I just love the way it looks. This is a high end wheel. The way that they got their full integration with the new SemiCube 3. Man, if someone's looking for a nice wheel, they gotta look at Bavarian SimTech. I don't think that we've said that in the past, but just recently I've really been turned on to their stuff.
how often do you take a wheel and use it as a chew toy?
So we've got an Instagram post here from Gomez Sim Ministries, and I ran across this, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So for our listeners, this is a video of them basically doing almost anything you can think of to destroy. This is, I think, the Hyper P1. dropping it from
Oh
probably
my
15,
God,
20
he's hitting
feet,
a hammer
throw,
on it.
throwing it up in the air, hitting with a hammer. I mean, they're doing everything to destroy this wheel. They give it to the dog chews it. Um, wow. Look, I have already, I have, I went to their website. I don't want the Hyper One. I don't need the screen, but the high end GT wheel I've already designed because you can do customization. I've designed what I want. I've saved it. That's the next purchase for me because the Gomez stuff is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I might grab that too when I have to switch either that or that I forget the sim I forget what the other one was. Cube controls. I liked that one as well.
But the amount of abuse this thing takes, and just, I mean, you don't even see a
Impressive.
mark on it. You don't even see a mark on it. I mean, GSI, again, yes, you're going to pay for it. Are they heavier wheels? Yes, but they're. I mean, look, a forever wheel. That's what I would call this. That's your forever wheel. Are you gonna? I mean, what are you going to have to do to end up messing that thing up? That's your forever wheel.
It's
You're
not
going to
going to end
call
up.
Jose Gomez and he's going to fix it for you because that's the kind of company he's got. That's the other reason you buy it from him, right?
All right, Mike. We have a rig review, maybe.
Yeah, Brock Feeney, Simbrig here. And he shows off, like a sim rig tour here of what he's got. He's got Track Racer, SimiCube, HE Sprints, or Heiskenveld, I guess that is. SimWorks for the shifter, Buttbox Apex Racing, Seat Race Tech, and the wheel, Supercar wheel.
The
So
shifter's on the wrong side.
so I threw this on the script. So this is Brock Feeney. He's a supercar driver. So if you go down to the Instagram post below, I'm sure everybody has seen this footage from a few weeks ago of him launching the car coming through these S's. But yeah, I ran across this. I just thought it was nice to see what real guys are using. Track Racer TR160. He's got a SimWorks shifter. That shifter is not cheap, but it simulates what he's got in his supercar. He's got a supercar seat. It's just I like to see what real guys use. That's what I like. I like the equipment to see what they use, and then say, look, this guy's practicing on here, and then he's getting in the car and he's letting the daggone thing fly.
Dude, that shifter is wow. Got like a big lever into a mechanism thing. Yeah, that's cool.
So is this Canadian Black Friday that's coming up from Conspit or what? Because they're a little off on their calendar with there only being 3 days left in their Black Friday sale.
Well, I kind of mentioned this on one of the shows, and I wanted to clarify because I didn't say exactly what it was, but I did find the advertisement. They do have a Black Friday sale. It's $3,197. You save $450, but for $3,200, you can get their base, their Formula wheel, and their pedals. And so, yeah, I mean, if you're going to spend 3,200, are you going to buy this brand? That's my question to you.
Um, I don't know. I mean, again, they continue to put out what looks to be good quality stuff. We talked about them probably a year ago that it was almost like vaporware because you remember you couldn't find it anywhere. Nobody was selling it. You could find a price, you couldn't find anything. But they've continued to deliver new products over and over again. I know that the guy that was with Sim Magic left, went to Conspit. Now he's left there. But you know, but the whole Black Friday thing, Dave, I don't know. I don't get it because I'm getting emails from Track Racer for Black Friday sales already. It's just I don't know if it's just companies getting ahead of what is actually historically Black Friday. Um, but yeah,
Well, I can understand advertising them earlier, but this one says it ends like in October.
Maybe it's the
yeah, the first
Chinese Black
first week.
Friday, or
Well, Canadian Thanksgiving is like a month early, isn't it? It's too bad Greg's not around to clarify this for us. They have to have it earlier before they're all snowed in and can't travel anywhere. All right. Anytime I hear Mass Effect wheel, I just think about a video game. What's this one?
So it's a new app that runs your tactile physics or tactile haptics. They say they can simulate uh, vibrations from the engine, road texture quality, body flexing, suspension. Let's see what else I got here. Shifting. I have not. I don't have haptics besides on the pedal, so I haven't gotten to try this yet. Has anybody tried it out?
Well, look, the thing
Um,
is that gets me on this is they have developed a package per car. So if you're in a GT3, they have a specific programming just for that car on all the things that Will just mentioned, like this part at 70%, this part at 50%, whatever. And so the idea is it's a subscription too. It's $15 a month to
yeah,
subscribe to
uh,
this.
that's the issue. I looked into this because I've got haptics, so this still runs through SimHub the way anything does. But yes, it's yeah, you're paying $15 a month. That's too much for me. And look, I can tell you, as someone who's got haptics, all this stuff is fantastic, but you don't run all this stuff. The problem with the issue with haptics is too much. Less is definitely more. You want to run the limited things that you need because otherwise it just turns into a vibrating mess and you can't tell anything that's going on.
Yeah,
Look,
that's what I've
If
always
you're
heard.
really, it depends on if your goal might be immersion or actually using it to help you drive. Because like we were at Phoenix today, and I just have a single butt kicker, and I have almost everything turned off except wheel slip, right? And so I knew immediately when I was pushing too hard in turns one and two from my butt kicker. I was like, I could feel it vibrating, and if I'd have done that turn more than a couple of times that way, I know that I'd be spinning out in a couple of laps, just just on that limited data.
well, look, I'm rich and I don't mind the $15 a month because I just want to sit down and drive. I don't want to sit down and program my haptics. I want someone else to program my haptics. That's what this is, right?
Yes, again, but I can tell you as somebody who's got haptics on all four corners, you can pollute this everything with too much. I mean, I don't run but a few things in each thing. I've got five haptics. I got one in the seat that is nothing but RPMs and engine vibration. On each corner, it simulates the edge of the car, whether it's a rumble strip or the road texture. That's it. And I have ABS on the front. When you start to put in all the slip and you put in all the other stuff, and like I said, literally, it just turns into the whole rig vibrates, and you have no idea what anything is doing.
Yeah, I've always heard less is more as well. I would be very interested to talk to somebody who has a setup like Brad's to see if these guys have been able to program it in a way where it's not just a complete mess.
Yeah, I think slip or tire slip is really the most important thing to feel over road texture and RPMs and everything.
I've tried the road slip, but again, wheel slip like in the rears, it's a vibration, and that doesn't to me that doesn't give me anything. I would rather feel a road texture, whether it's a rumble strip or to feel the telemetry from the from hitting a bump in the road to where I'm at versus the wheel slip. So again,
Look,
it's just
well, I think David's just using it in a very specific way that suits him. But look, I have the single butt kicker under my seat and I use it completely different than David. I'm using it as immersion. I have a lot of engine rumble and road rumble and stuff like that, bump rumble, gear shift.
I tell you what, I'll dig into this a little bit. I'll even maybe I'll subscribe for a month just so I can get an idea of what it's like. So there you go. I'll be the guinea pig.
But do you have to buy their transducers to run this?
I would
No.
hope not. So I ain't doing that.
No, I think it's just you're buying the plug-in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I started looking at this before I got to put on the script. I don't remember where I saw it. I saw it in a Discord channel somewhere, and looked at it, and I was like, "Wow, this is really cool." And I got down, it's like, "Oh, $15 a month. Yeah, I got too many subscriptions now."
All right, we got something next that we don't very often find, and that's somebody not recommending one of the things that they review. Um, from the Sim Circuit, he says, "I won't be buying the new Savu steering wheels." And then he says the SimCube 3 wheelbase is a maybe. So, did you give this one a look, John?
I did. Sim Circuit did this. We're starting to see slowly uh, videos come out on the new SimiCube products, SimCube 3, the Savu wheel, co-pedals, which we all got to take a look at Sim Gaming Expo. But his primary focus here was the Savu wheel, and he basically says it's a hard no. He gave his reasons for it. I mean, it's only a 9-minute video, so you can watch it. But uh, one of his criticisms was the appearance. Another was price. Uh, but he hard no for him on that.
I agree. Kudos to Sim Circuit for speaking truth. I mean, I think everyone kind of thought the same thing. When they initially launched the Savu wheel, like, okay, and it cost how much? Oh, it's over $1,000 and it doesn't have a screen and it looks like plastic. No, it's a hard no. Now, thank God SemiCube has good, wheel manufacturer partners like Gomez and Bavarian and so forth to help with, having some quality wheel choices here. I am disappointed with the Savu, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I mean,
Well,
has it always been the case though with SemiCube wheels? I mean, obviously, I think their wheelbases are the best, but I have always thought the wheels were underwhelming and overpriced, and I thought that was
Absolutely.
how it's always been.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
when I bought the SemiCube 2 Pro, I took a quick look at the wheels they had available, and it was a hard no then too. Absolutely.
Yeah, in the video, you can see him put the Grid MPX wheel on the one I talked about last week or the week before, and I think it's a little bit less than the Sabu and way better. I mean, yeah, I thought that's how the SemiCube wheels have always been.
The next
And
review is from OC. Go ahead. Well, go ahead, Mike.
well, I think there's one more thing, as far as the wheelbase, the sim circuit, you know, says what we everyone else said. What about the USB pass through? This was a huge miss on SimiCube by not having that available in 2025.
Again, they're choosing to go a different direction, create an ecosystem, and again, if you can get enough wheel people, the wheel manufacturers and everybody else to tie in with you, then again, it's they're not saying you can't use a wheel that's USB. You just still got to use a cord. So again, they made a decision. I don't know if I don't completely agree with it. I've read the Discord quite a bit about the whole light bridge thing, and I understand the reasoning behind it. Again, I still think it was a miss.
Well, they kind of light bridge because it's some kind of fiber optic connection.
No,
Yeah, it's whatever. Well, whatever. It's whatever the technology is that it's using.
it's not fiber optic though. No.
Yeah, it's different, but I think I heard someone say, and Brad, you're in the Discord, I'm not, that they didn't think USB would hold up to their 10-year plan that they want their wheelbases to you, and I'm not really sure I believe that, but it's their decision. Again, like you said, I'm not really sure it's the right one, but that's the way they're going.
Yeah, I mean, there's some inherent issues with USB, and everybody understands that. There's connectivity issues, and USB has issues at times, and that's what they're trying to get around. And again, when you've got their chip that's built into the rim and into the wheel, then that's what it's connecting with, and that's what it's using. And again, that's the whole purpose. And again, I understand it. The whole one-click race thing. Everything is integrated into one system. That's their system. Whether it's the base, the pedals,
Software
the
too.
right, the software. That's what I'm saying. Everything is in one spot. So you're running one software for your wheel, for your base, for your pedals, for your everything. I understand completely. Again, it's the it, they're doing what everybody else has already done. Has their own ecosystem. Moza has their own ecosystem. Everybody else has their own ecosystem. SimiCube didn't. They were they didn't have that, and that's what they're going towards. So I mean, I'm not mad at them. Heck, I just bought a SemiCube 2 Pro, so I'm not mad at them.
All right. Next is OC Racing featuring the Astra which is the Cube Control's most affordable wheel, and this is the one that's actually on my radar if I don't want to spend a crazy amount on my Formula One.
450, I think it is.
Yeah, I like the layout. I think 400 actually. I saw.
Well, look, there's the entry level is 400, but if you want the nicer buttons that are metal and they have different colors, it's 50 more. And so so OC kind of talks about that, but yeah, I think you spend the extra 50 and get the nicer button.
Metal buttons might be worth it because I know all the plastic ones on my current wheel have all popped off and are in really rough shape. That my wheels have suffered some serious wear and tear as far as the buttons go.
Where you're throwing them around like the GSI.
No, I've just been I race a lot.
It was a good review. I mean, he gave it a good review for what it is. The value is high, and so I have no problem, saying, "Hey, get this wheel if this is your price range."
Yeah, we all picked this up and held it at the gaming expo. But yeah, it's good. Like I said, my only issue with it is I just don't like an open. I don't like an open. I want a closed rim. I just don't like an open bottom rim. That's all. That's just me.
And
It's a personal preference.
yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to touch that bottom. Your hands never come off in that way, so I don't think it would have bothered me, and I don't see it again. And I don't need a screen, which is another reason this one is attractive to me. I don't want to spend money on a screen. All right, let's hang out and talk about the next hanging option, John.
Yeah, the this is a little video about the Gravidec GT35 motion simulator. I've never seen one like this. So your cockpit is actually suspended up in the air, hanging off of this metal frame. Um, Now, when I first saw this, I thought, "There's no way. Be my luck. I'm hanging up in the air in this cockpit. It falls down to the ground, crashes." But supposedly has some really good, accurate physics. Uh, but it just looks weird to me.
No, that's exactly right, John. And I was fascinated by this after hearing an interview from one of the content creators who interviewed the guy who built it. And he's an engineer, by trade. And he talks about, and I'm going to try to say it, but I won't say it as eloquently as he did. But it's important to do motion as far as in racing from above rather than below. And he explains the physics behind it. And I don't remember exactly what that was, but what he said was very convincing. Um,
But you can see it
and
on the
that's why he
website.
designed it this way.
Yeah, and you can see it on the website. It's got if you look first, you got just a picture of it, but then below there's a graphic, and you see the industry standard where the axis point of all the rotation is down low. Um, and that's semi accurate, but I think when you're getting to something like a six-step DOF, it's not exactly quite the same because there's some, I guess, some the center of the rotation is a little bit higher when you've got those triangular setups, but the axis for the pitch and the roll and everything is above your head. And when you're racing in a real car, that's really what's moving more is the bottom of the car is much than the top. So it does
I'm,
make a lot of sense.
this kind of goes to that other discussion that Niels Heiskenveld was talking about how motion is, the way we're doing motion is wrong. And this kind of this kind of resolves that, I think, to a point. I mean, the to the graphic you mentioned, David, where it shows where the pitch axis and roll axis are, it makes sense as from a driving perspective to have that above you versus below you. But man, could you imagine trying to sell this to your family? Oh, I'm going to install this crazy thing that's 10 feet tall and and
Yeah,
8 feet wide or whatever.
it just
Well,
looks like
not
a
just the
contraption.
space, not just the space, but the biggest thing is to sell the price. Probably, I'm sure it's right up there with the driven dynamics type rig as far as the price goes.
I think it was a little over what, $10,000, and then thousands to set it up. So
So I'm off by an order of magnitude. Okay.
yeah, this is the same company which we've seen before. They have the Axiom 360. That's the rig that actually moves around when you drive. So if
It
you're
was-
on the website and you go over to the Axiom 360, there's a video there, and this is the as the guy's driving, the entire rig is moving backwards and forwards and turning, and you know, I guess at some point you're going to run into the wall.
If you live in Metro France, you can get it installed for just another 1,000 euros. All right, we haven't seen these guys in a while. SHH. They have a good shifter. What else are they showing here, Mike?
well, they got a 3DOF motion system available now as well, in addition to their famously known 3D printed shifter that was very affordable. But man, this motion can be quite affordable as well. 3,630 euros for the 3D DOF motion system. Looks like it's another accessory control box 90 and an 8040 mount for another 245. So it looks like you get the whole thing for about 4,000 euros.
Yeah, they were at the Sim Gaming Expo, and somebody was talking to them when they were doing the walkthrough, and I think they had motion set up, but they were talking about the shifter, and I think they were alluding to, I guess they're working on an active shifter as well.
All right, and I wanted to try to push so we could get at least one more in before we jump to results. Sarah's put out another video, and this one is called Immersion Overload, and it's basically haptic padding that you can insert into your current seat. I give it a watch, and it's pretty interesting. It's definitely a lot more affordable than the G seat, which I always had a little bit of envy from Joe having, and he ended up selling his. So uh, this is not terrible to consider, especially if your padding on your seat has started to get a little worn out.
Yeah, you almost have to pull your pouting out and put this in place of it. Or
Yes, it's a cushion with built-in butt kickers, basically inside the cushions.
so this is like more of a premium way to do just the typical, next level racing haptics pad thing, right?
Yeah, and it's got under the legs and on the back, essentially, and you can program. It had its own software, I guess, instead of running through SimHub. I believe she showed the software, and you could set some different levels and set it up even for different levels of complexity, I guess. Or you can customize it and put just certain things on the legs and just certain things, kind of the same way Brad does with his pucks.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand the butt and the legs. I just have a hard time trying to figure out the benefit that I'm going to get from something vibrating on my back, in regards to a race car. That's all.
Yeah, the main thing that the G seat gave you is it would actually push against you when you were accelerating.
$800 too. It's not cheap.
It's cheaper
Woo.
than a G sheet though. G seat though.
I think a G seat, which for people who don't know what that is, it's from Sim Experience out of California, and it's a racing seat that has little hydraulic metal flaps built into it, and the flaps push against you, literally. What Sarah has is, you know, a haptic, vibration kind of thing inside the cushion. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a hard no for me. I really believe in the butt kicker right under your butt, like like the name alludes to. If you get that 1 inch from your butt, it does wonders, guys. I can't tell you how much immersive that is.
Yeah, I wonder if you could buy just the bottom part and save some money. All right, let's get some results, Mike.
All right, NASCAR iRacing Series, Martinsville, Sunday fixed. DQ'd out on lap 178 out of 250 with only 50 seconds damage. None of those cautions or incidents I were involved in were actually caused by me. Absolutely none. And so I just played the DQ limit game the whole race, but didn't quite win. Wednesday Open NIS, Kyle, he said IDK car was strong and hooked up. Not much happened until around 90 laps in, and my computer started lagging, causing my pedals not to respond. And I was full throttle and steered hard right into turn one to avoid taking out another car in front of me. It ruined my race. A new PC build incoming very soon.
Now, Kyle, if you're listening, it may not be your PC, as we've talked about already.
Yeah, true.
He may be running into the same GPS issue or FPS issues everybody else is. Or I was wrecked out. I come back to run for this series finale because it's full length, and I like Phoenix, and yeah, this race was loaded with people that we have marked as known troublemakers, and yes, of course, one of them runs over another guy in front of me, and I get caught from behind, and too much damage. We're done after about 30 laps.
I bet you I know who it was. You don't have to tell me.
You want to guess the first initial of either the first or last name?
Oh, I know what it is. I'm not even going to mention it on the podcast.
So Chris Waldron ran. I don't remember where he finished, but yeah, he
Tenth,
did
tenth. He
finish
said. I think he got a tenth. He said it
10th.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. But 20 people left racing or something. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't good. Thanks for talking me out of it, Will.
Wait, now Thursday Open, I got a P11. I basically ran top five or so the first half of the race. After that, my frames per second cut in half and gradually got lower and lower, as low as 12 frames per second at the end of the race. Almost impossible to run like that. I did get trapped a lap down during green flag stops. Fought really hard for that lucky dog, and I held it for the longest time. Never got that caution, but eventually a different one where I did get a wave around and back to the lead lap and just kind of drove it home after that. I couldn't really race. David, P3.
Yeah, I was basically running about P7 to P5 most of the race, but we had a late caution when the caution came out that trapped you a lap down. I think I was one of the last cars to pit in the green flag stop because I was running longer, even though there was a couple of people who were later than me in the cycle because of they pitted in a caution that I didn't. Um, the caution came out and I was already approaching my pit box, and I was able to get pitted and actually fix some damage and get back out. And it lines me back up in P3 with a lot of people a lap down. Then late had a fifth place car, another late caution, and it's within less than 20 laps. I go ahead and decide, based on Premier Setup's recommendation, take two tires. You talk Justin into making that same decision, and the guy that had dominated the race didn't take two tires and was behind us both. He didn't have a problem getting around me too quick because he was faster, but he panicked with about 13 to go and looped himself, took took himself out, and that kind of cleared the race pretty much for Justin to win it. This guy also was on tilt because he started driving like a bat out of hell and even wrecked some guys under caution or after the checkered flag. He wrecked some guys on purpose, basically because he was mad at himself. But yeah, P3, I did the best I could on the last restart, to just make sure I got a good enough restart that the P2 guy had to fight me for a lap or so, and that kind of allowed Justin to pull away.
Yep. And then Justin Pearson, P1, says, "Thank you, Mikey. I wouldn't have won the race without you. I was heading down pit road and was toggling the tires from 4 to 2 because you told me to, which put me in the lead, and that's all I needed was that track position. Proud of my teammate David for getting a podium. Great win. Look, today, three of us in the same split. There wasn't too many cautions. It kind of felt like old NIS was back. It felt good. We had Greg and Tony in the stream watching and cheering on Justin as he won. So it was a great time today at Phoenix. GT Challenge Series fixed. I ran at Sebring P10. Had a pretty good race, just a little bit slower than all the others though. Ringmeister. So Pontiac Solstice from last week. Top split started 22nd out of 25. I drove it up to finish P9. What a great run. Then next started 11th, got to 4th, and got in a tussle and put back to 9th, but drove back up to 6th. Fighting hard for 5th. I overdid it on that final straightaway and basically bounced off the guy. Ouch, causing him to spin out. And I gave many apologies over the radio. My bad. I didn't mean to wreck him. Then Sunday night I ran one and somehow I'm going backwards instead of forwards, but it was people trying to pass me in the bad spots. We end up wrecking DNF. And then this week we moved to the Kia Optima. Oh my God, a front wheel drive car. I don't know if I've ever raced a front wheel drive car.
You got to drive them completely different.
Oh my God, do you? It does not turn if you're on the gas or the brake. You could only turn it when you're not on the pedals.
Yes, but you should never spin out either, because all you got to do is hit the gas to pull yourself out of a spin.
So anyway, this car is something. I stuffed it in the wall after hitting the curbs on about turn 3, killed the engine. Next race, made it further, almost a lap before I hit the curb and killed the engine by hitting the wall again. Then I started second, finished P7. I got wrecked from behind once, spun down into the wall, spent another time by myself, but still rallied to finish 7th. Next race started 5th, got as high as 4th, and then due to several incidents, I had to fall back to finish P7. That one was a wreck fest, and was happy to survive several different scenarios. Next race started P2, got wrecked out pretty quickly, but somebody tried to pass me in a vulnerable area, and I ended up in the wall. Next, I started 5th, didn't get too far before I made a mistake and killed the car. And last, I started 2nd, had a good starting spot for about half a lap, and then spun it out somehow. When I hit the curb, it didn't wreck the car, but I couldn't get the car off the curb at all. It actually high centered on the curb with no damage. I had to tow because it just wouldn't go. IMSA, Brad, P12.
Yeah, Mexico City. We should not race here, plain and simple. It's a horrible track for mixed class sports car series. It's not bad when you're just out there by yourself, but the speed difference between it's I don't know. It's too tight in certain areas, and it's just it's freaking miserable. So I will boycott this track from here on out. It's just not enjoyable to run. Yeah, I don't like it.
Okay, William, P4.
Yeah, as I alluded to in the opening, I had a pretty good week here. P4 is going to be my worst result of the week, which is pretty nice. I did 2 league races here before this IMSA race. I lost a little bit of speed between them. I had a kind of slow qualifying, but found most of that back by lap 8 or 9. I was definitely faster than P3, but as Brad said, it's really hard to pass at this track. Nothing for P1. Is 5K guy. He was well out in front, and P2 was somewhere in between. But pretty good result. Everybody hates this track. I mean, Brad's not the only one I've talked to. Everybody in grassroots was pretty much. We ran it Tuesday night, and 90% of the people hated it. I'm really starting to love it. As Brad said, maybe not in multi-class. It's kind of tough. When you get into the infield sections, you can almost pass an LMP2 in your GT3 if they're even a bit slow or don't know what they're doing. But I mean, as far as the track itself, I'm really enjoying it.
I did run one and took a P11, I think, where I actually finished the race. I haven't been back on it yet.
It's what's frustrating though is it's like any of the other tracks where attendance is horrible. You know, I mean, the race I ran the other night, I'm in there with an 8K guy. Just like there's nothing you can do. I mean, it's just you're getting
So it's like
one split, maybe 2 splits per
so it's,
per time slot. So that's another frustrating.
so it's kind of like the league race, huh?
Yeah, it is, and it's again, I'm okay with that at times, but when you jump into, I mean, like I was it's 3 seconds. I can't find 3 seconds. 2 seconds, I can deal with it. But when guys are 3 seconds a lap faster than you, yeah, forget it. I can't find it.
I was getting in our league race. I was getting beat by 6 seconds by the guy that's like 6K in the league.
Okay. John, ARCA P14, Chicagoland.
Yeah, I like this ARCA car. I really like Chicagoland. I'm glad they're coming back next year. But about halfway through, I hit the wall coming out of turn 4. Did damage to the right front tire, and you can't pit in these races because you have no yellows. You're going to just lose laps. So I just kept the car out there and limped it around. Hitting the wall. That ruined any chance of a good finish. But again, like these cars, like that track.
All right, leagues and hosted. We have the Roush Esports event. Brad at Road Atlanta P14 and P11.
Yep. So I ran this last night. Roush Sports will put on a few things during the year. So I try to do these when I can. So 2 races, 15 laps apiece at Road Atlanta in the Mustang GT4 cars. Fun to drive once you get some heat in the tires. Otherwise, it's an absolutely miserable mess for about the first 3 laps. But screwed up qualifying bad. Started P20 in the first race. Ended up avoiding a few early spins, but ended up getting collected in a multi-car wreck coming out of the hairpin. I had it missed till about 3 people just plowed into the back of me. I'm not sure why. When the track's blocked, we just stay in the gas, but happens on the roadside just like it does on the oval side. But I was able to drive back up to P14 by the end of the first race. So second race started with your finishing order from the first, so started 14th. I actually drove up to P7, avoided some spinners. I didn't have the pace to stay there. I was running P8 coming to the checkers, and guy in P9 was right on me coming into the chicane before coming out of the downhill. And I tried to late brake just to try to get a little bit of gap, and I just got behind, lost the car. Um, I ended up finishing 11th. Really, I was really pissed at myself last night. Really was. I wanted a P10. I at least wanted a top 10. But so yeah, the next one they're doing. I mean, I'll do is they do an annual RFK Holiday Showdown in December. They're actually doing a off-road truck race, I guess, in a few weeks. I've never driven those, have no desire, but yeah, they're fun to do. So it's a good time.
All right, Grassroots Racing League. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. William P1.
Yeah, P1, finally. I know I've talked a lot about, my progression this year and it's just getting better and having good results, but I tell you what, it's nice to get back to the top. Results this year have been fairly good, but wins have been few and far between. As we've talked about, Mexico's a tough track. I started second with Will Weaver on the pole. I followed him for 22 laps, I think, just kind of staying about 2 tenths to 8 tenths behind him, just kind of following him because it's so hard to pass here. If you're similarly paced to any other person, they have to make a major mistake for you to get around him. And the freaking Mustang is so strong here. You can be off them you can be on their bumper coming out of the last turn, and they'll gap you by the end of the straight. He put a lap before me. He almost spun coming out of the last turn, just looped it right into the pits. It was time to pit anyway. I pit on the next lap, and between that and I guess I had a better stop than him, I came out 4 seconds ahead of him once everything cycled. Unfortunately, he spun dealing with a lap car on the next lap. So from that point on, just cruising home. I think I had a 12-second lead on P2 at that point. So, like Brad is going to mention later, it's a little bit of a rough race. I think a lot of people, with this being a new track and a tough track, probably didn't put as much practice in as they should have. You could tell who had practiced, who hasn't. Not a lot of terrible driving, I think, but a lot of lap traffic problems. People just off pace of what they might normally be in the end vision. So overall, great race. I was extremely happy Tuesday night.
All right, Brad, P dead last.
Yep. Wrecked twice. Was wrecked twice in the first lap. Um, like Will said, just I hope a few drivers will settle down, or it's just going to be a long season. So, um, that's the same guys that I've seen for the last few weeks that make the same mistakes. So, just over aggressive driving. We don't need it. That's the one thing that I liked about this league is, for the most part, the race is clean. Maybe it's the track. I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty bad. So. Um, yeah, I mean, I got dive bombed and turned, and then got thought I had the accident clear to come out of the last corner, and I didn't. It just couldn't avoid it. Ended up with wheel damage, and went to go pit for fast repair, and somehow got a penalty for pit entry and 40-second hold. And I was like, yeah, at this point I've already lost over a lap. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to gain any spots. I'm not having fun, so I just went ahead and quit. So
All right. And then David, you say P last, dead last too.
Yeah, and I did. I practiced almost 2 hours for this. I watched the video. I did. But still, I'm so outclassed in that GTP field. I was running. I was going to be. I was the slowest qualifier. The second. No, I think I was the slowest qualifier, and I was going to just ride in the back and try to stay clean. And we're just taking it easy and trying to let the tires get warmed up. And in the last set of S's, I just got loose. I wasn't even really trying to race hard. Put it in the wall and had to tow. And I came back out and let all the GT3s go just so I could have some clean track. But at that point, I was just I was so mad at myself that I was getting off track after off track after off track. So before I got near anybody, I just pulled over because I was uh, you I was a lap down to the whole field and was just not going to enjoy it and wanted to get out of the way.
Okay. And then Elbows Out Racing League, William P2.
Yep, P2. It might actually be a small possibility of P1 after our penalty report. They do a later penalty report after they watch all the incidents. So small possibility because I think he had an incident. I put it on pole by mistake. Was not trying to do it because I don't know what I'm doing up there. Was able to run up front for a minute, but like we've talked about earlier, man, like some of these LMP2s just couldn't get it through this infield section, and I was being held up by the back of the LMP2 field after leaving a 6 second gap at the beginning. So that was a little bit frustrating at the beginning of the race. The guy behind me was honestly faster. He was probably gonna get me at any point, but about lap 7, he was following me through the second S's. Combination of him just getting a much better run in that Mustang out of the corner, and then me unsettling in the car on one of the curbs. He tapped me in the rear, sent me against the wall. Got minor wheel damage. My wheel is off center by about 20 degrees, about 2/10 a lap slower. Thankfully, though, it wasn't too much damage. I was able to continue. Settled into P3 pit. We get a fast repair. Got the damage fixed. Come out in fourth. Second had a problem. I think they had a hardware failure. And then I passed the new P2, which was a Porsche in front of me. Somehow I actually made a pass on the track going in turn one. So P2, like I said, maybe a little bit more, but again, even if not, it's still a great result.
All right. Final thoughts, Brad Wren.
um, kind of hit a stretch here the last few weeks. Just haven't had a lot of good results, and it gets frustrating. So you know, it's one of those things where you just kind of you beat yourself up a little bit, and I don't know, looking for I don't know if it's just the combination of tracks. I did not like Mexico. I'm not a huge fan of Le Mans, so I think we're back at Monza next week. So
Monza,
that's
yeah.
yeah, that's good. We'll actually be back on a real track. Um, so just I don't know, just kind of like in a little bit of a funk maybe. Um, and maybe it's that time of year. We don't have a lot of news. There's not a whole lot of stuff happening. Everybody's noticed the first section's been kind of light. So I don't know. It's just it's kind of a weird time of year. Um, so I don't know. Just I guess kind of
Okay. David Hall, final thought.
Well, with the NIS wrapping up, we are coming up on the Polar Series. We've actually had probably about, I guess, 10 guys, 10 listeners contact us and get added to the rosters, which should help the numbers. But if you're still interested, just let me know as soon as possible so I can get your name on that roster. Any of the listeners are pretty well getting vetted in, unless you happen to be a listener who is actually one of those that we've had repeated run-ins with, but I don't think you are. Probably, I bet you those guys don't listen. Um, that's basically the rules as far as penalties, and it's not going to be much to it. And if the group decides you're running like a Carson Hosevar, you probably won't stick around. It's that simple. We're not going to make it a bunch of uh, black tape. the schedule's already set up. We're running the first 10 weeks, or no, 12 weeks of the NASCAR 2003 season. And we have like I said, a top heavy point system where there's a big jump between first, second, third, and fourth and fifth, and then smaller gaps the rest of the way down. So those going for the win does mean something, but it's still a regular season system. So if you're interested, just message me in, or even just ping me on Discord.
So it's Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern,
Yep, the server will open at 8, and if
Gen
we've gotten
4.
enough, if it's Gen 4, if we've gotten enough, I remember back in the past they were able to fill up when we
And,
had some good numbers. So we'll see
and when is this starting?
next week.
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. Okay.
Yep.
I guess I need to buy the car.
Be there or be square. Okay,
It's
John.
ironic you say that, considering that car is not particularly square.
John Curley, final thought.
Well, looking forward to the last NIS race Friday night. Going to run that. Going to run some B and C races Phoenix this weekend. Try to get some seat time in for the last races of the season. And do some more shopping for some hardware.
Oh, all right. Winner William Westbrook. I like the sound of that. Final thought.
That sounds nice. I hopefully can continue that. Kind of the opposite of Brad. I'm near the top of both leagues I'm running, or at least in the top five. So I'm having a pretty good run lately. I think he is experiencing what I did, about 2 months ago when I think I lost 320 I rating at Road Atlanta, just from getting into incidents that other people cause. So I understand his suffering for a minute, but it goes up and down. I think just keep at it and it'll all eventually even out.
All right. My final thought. Having fun at the ring, even though the car is quite frustrating. The next car coming up over the next 3 or 4 weeks, I actually don't own any of those, so I guess I'll be buying them. But having fun. I mean, when I run after work, which is about 11 p.m. Eastern, this is one of the most populated series happening at that time of night. And so that's one of the big reasons I'm running it, because there's usually more than one split. Having a good time with it. So check out my stream on the TikTok. As far as Moza goes, they did put out a software update. I was holding my breath. They're going to add back in all those effects on my pedal, and they didn't. It's all about the stupid wheelbase. That's all they care about is their wheelbase. I can't find any support from Discord or anywhere from anyone who has any of the same thoughts that I do about those effects. Like, why were they there for a few weeks and now they're gone? Nobody knows nothing. And so I'm just going to keep waiting. I ain't going to spend any more money at Moza until I find out what happened. With that, we'll see you at the track later. Okay, title ideas. We got one. We got two.
I like to.
Yeah, let's go with two. That's pretty funny.
Okay,
That fit
two it is.
that kind of fits double
Two
since we
different
talked about
things,
winter
yeah.
a lot. Yeah.
Good show, guys. Well done. Kill the stream.